And hello out there, wonderful world of crazy people that decide to watch this podcast. What are you doing with your life? Why are you wasting it watching us?
Somebody has to do it.
I'm Matt.
That that's a bird.
That's a bird, and next to the bird would be my brother Chris. And
Oh yeah, no, I'm here too. Yeah.
yeah, somewhat, but I think Loki's in control today.
He's always is.
And here we are. We are back again with yet another sports podcast, and it's been a hell of a week. I got absolutely quashed by you this week in football pick'em.
It's only 2 weeks in a row. It won't last long.
The way I'm picking this season, it might. I
Hey,
started
remember,
I started hot.
remember, I'm just picking like these are kind of off the cuff every week. So these are kind of
I'm
just.
kind of half doing the same. Like I
So
tried to get into it last week about looking into previews and who was gonna be what and where and yada yada yada. And now I'm just like I don't.
you
The
kind of
problem
have
is,
kind of an idea what teams are at this point, but
and the problem is though, there's still a bunch of teams that, and we'll get into it. I got no idea what the fuck they are.
well, to be fair, there's a lot of teams that don't even know what they are at all.
Oh,
So
absolutely, and we'll get into that because
they're still trying to figure out what they are.
exactly, there's a bunch of teams out there that had really that won this week, or that played horribly, or vice versa, or whatever happened. They have no idea what they are. There are no more unbeaten teams. Spoiler alert.
No,
Uh, surprisingly, yes. We'll talk about those games here shortly. We will start off with a little bit of injury news. We'll probably do, well, hockey is back, so we'll start NHL just saying hockey is back. It's been about a week now. I don't know what to say. Connor Bedard has his first goal and his first points, so whoop-de-doo.
yay!
Yay! Minnesota's 1-1. That one I will bring up because our first game against Florida, who was in the... I apologize for that. People are loud around here.
Even I heard that one. No,
Yeah.
I don't.
The Gustafson, they faced the Florida Panthers. The Wild did. They were in the Stanley Cup champion last year. They were in the championship. They got beat 4-1, but they were there.
They were there.
Gustafson made a 41 save shutout for the Wild to win 2-0.
Jeez.
Yeah. And then they went to Toronto and lost 7-3.
No, that sounds about right. That sounds about right.
And then Toronto immediately got goalied by Chicago's backup goalie. A dude with an overall, 3-12 or 2-12 record and an 890 something save percentage. They managed one goal against him. And got beat 4-1.
Oof.
Yeah. But that's Toronto for you. Toronto is the weirdest team ever. They will lose to some team they have no business losing to, and they will smash the shit out of someone they have no business beating.
True.
So, anyway, the season looks like it's going to be weird. We'll keep you in tune with it as much as we can, especially once it really cranks into gear. Currently, the Phillies lead the Diamondbacks 1-0 in the NLCS. And the Rangers lead the Astros 2-0 in the ALCS. Rangers are hot right now. I don't understand it, but the last team that was a 1 or a 2 seed that is left in the playoffs is Houston. And if they go down, we're going to have a wild card team make it into the World Series. We've already got one wild card team making it. We could have double wild card teams.
True.
Which is very weird.
True.
So, alrighty. let's see here. Oh, we do want to take a moment of silence. We did not mention it. We should have the other week when Chicago won. Dick Butkus has passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of sad. A lot of people are kind of sad about that. The big time football player. Everybody knew who Dick Butkus was. Everybody was kind of like, oh, Dick Butkus, yeah. Also, we should mention before we get too into football news and start running all the football content, the whatever they're called, the IOCC, the Olympic people who decide on what's going to be in the Olympics. For Summer Olympics 28 in Los Angeles, the 2028 Summer Olympics. Now, this is 5 years from now. 5 years.
Mm-hmm. 5 years.
Almost 4. But 5 years. Summer 5 years from now. They have decided that the following sports will now be in the Olympics. Cricket. Squash. Which I always thought was a gourd.
That's
it. Lacrosse. Flag football.
Okay.
I have no idea what that's going to be, but I'm loving it.
The flag football one confuses me a little bit, but okay.
Apparently,
Like, I can understand the rest of them, but the flag
apparently flag football is one of the fastest growing sports in the world currently.
Like, I get that, because it's just, like, super simple, and the idea is that it's supposed to be less dangerous, and you don't really have to have a lot to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know. It's fun. It's just weird to me, because it's, like, something we grew up playing as kids, and now seeing it being, like,
An Olympic sport, yeah.
It's fucking weird.
I agree with you, but I'm going to enjoy watching it, because I think it'll be fun.
Yeah. I guess.
Just my viewpoint.
I don't know. Might not be. Might be shit. Who knows?
Could totally be.
There's a lot of Olympic sports that I don't watch because they're just not fun to watch.
Yeah, but we'll have to see how the flag football thing. I think it's the closest we'll get to having football in the Olympics.
At this point in time, for now, yeah. I mean, otherwise it's gonna be forever. Yeah. By then, it might not be even football. It might be something else. Who even knows?
Yeah, who knows? Yeah. But the fact of the matter is they're going to be adding flag football. So we could probably say that America should win that one.
But they won't.
Probably not. However, I will be a little off the cuff and say that either India or Pakistan is going to win the cricket gold medal.
Probably.
I mean, England may have a strong case too, because I think that the English actually do have a pretty decent cricket team. But
yeah, even the Irish are good at that too. But
yeah, I've actually watched a little bit of cricket, and
But I know, like, India, it's, like, huge.
Yeah, I half understand cricket, and it's going to be more interesting to see what rules they go with. Because there's 2 distinct sets of cricket rules, are my understanding. And in one of them, the games can literally last for days. So I would imagine that's not the set of rules they're going with.
Probably not. And they're probably going to be played indoors, I imagine, anyways.
I imagine that as well, yes. So it's going to be interesting to see how that would handle on the world stage. And then I've never really known too much about lacrosse. But learning anything about that might be interesting, because I know that can be a pretty violent and brutal sport.
Well, I don't know.
And if I remember right, squash is played on indoor courts with it's kind of like a weird version of racquetball.
Yeah, basically.
Only a little more brutal.
It can be, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's not intentionally set up to be more brutal, but it just, I mean, when you're dealing with multiple people on the same small ass court, I mean, collisions are going to happen.
Yeah. And they're not, my understanding is they're not strictly forbidden either.
No, you're not.
So. Sometimes
Some
if you
people
want,
and there are some players who specifically play that very aggressive style on purpose.
they want to keep you from getting to the ball, so they're just going to run you over.
Yep. So they know they can't out compete you technically, so they'll just out physical you.
So it'll be interesting to see how those lend themselves to the 28 games.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine the first year there's probably not going to be much. Like I can't imagine there's going to be much to watch, but we'll see.
We'll
But
see. I can
you know
imagine
that's
that
going to be the
like
test though. That's going to be the
cricket
testing
and
period.
flag football, I think, will get the most viewership.
Probably. Specifically cricket, actually, because like as much as we in the U.S. don't play it as much, it's played a lot
It's
around the
played a lot
globe.
around the world. It's kind
Yeah,
of like football or soccer, as we American
yeah,
Yankee Doodle fucks call it.
yeah.
But yeah, no, the as you know, I think squash or not squash, cricket is one of those like international sports that's caught on everywhere but here. And it's probably because we play the weird version, not even the same thing, but we play baseball, which is as close as we get to cricket. So, but, like, I can't imagine there's going to be a good American cricket team. I don't know if.
I mean, I know there are some people who have played cricket. I know there's a lot of people. I know a lot of people who play lacrosse.
We should have a decent lacrosse team. I'll say
Cricket,
that.
I think there's enough people that they can get a team together, but whether they'll be good, yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know
we
about that.
probably can field a team. Are they going to be able to compete with some of the teams that will come out of India or
Potentially, it's
Pakistan
hard to
or
say.
England? Probably
Potentially,
not.
hard to say. Potentially, but hard to say.
Yeah,
But
I
probably
would
not.
guess probably not.
At least not the first year, anyways.
No, it'll take a couple of cycles, and if it does catch on though, if it
Yeah,
becomes really watched, even here, you might see a cricket league pop up here, and if you started to
at
see
least a
that,
small one potentially. Yeah,
yeah. But if it caught on,
it's kind of like the soccer. Like we do have a soccer league here. It's not a huge sport, obviously, like here, but it's still there is a league.
it actually
There are
has an
multiple
exclusive
teams.
deal with Apple right now.
Yeah, so
MLS is exclusively on Apple TV,
yep,
and for one price, paid for the year, you can watch every single MLS game. You can even
yep.
watch all the replays. I think that helps MLS a lot. Not
Oh
because
yeah,
it's Apple, but because they're on the cutting edge of how broadcasting is probably going to be done or should be done for major sports
yeah,
events.
streaming. Yeah,
The
probably.
streaming idea. Yeah. NFL is sort of getting into it on the YouTube side of things, but they're
Yeah,
still not like
Amazon
you
as
still
well.
can't
Yeah,
get every game that way.
no.
I have noticed that if it is not on YouTube, I can generally get it through my app. So any of the games
Yeah,
that are nationally broadcast games, I can get on the NFL app. And Thursday nights and Sunday night and Monday night, I can get on the app.
yeah.
Everything else I can get on YouTube if I want to watch it. So that's always a possibility.
Right.
So
It'd just be nice to have like one place to go for all that, right?
I agree. Like, have one giant app or one giant. Like, I've always said what I really want someone to do with streaming is go ahead and make it so that for however much money I can buy a team pack, right? So I don't want to watch all the games. I don't need to watch every Thursday night game. I don't need to watch every Sunday night game. I don't need to watch every Monday night game. Granted, it's nice, especially because we're doing this podcast. But like,
Yeah.
if I was
Most
just
people don't need to though. Yeah.
if I was just a fan,
Yeah,
like I was before
a
this
general
podcast,
fan wouldn't. Yeah.
just a general fan, like, give me 30 or 40 bucks for all the games the Vikings are in, and that doesn't include playoffs, just regular season. Give me like a $40 package that I can watch every single Vikings game. I can stream it. Done. I don't need to watch the other games, but you're making money just by selling me that.
Yeah, I don't know, but as a general fan too, I also do enjoy being able to watch the other games when I'm not, on a
No, and
Sunday,
I
like
get that, so they could sell extra packages beyond that that would be add-ons. But if you were a fan of a specific team, like, especially if you live out of market for that team, you could make a ton of money. Think about
Yeah.
think about how many people there are that are fans of dare I say, the Patriots from back with the Tom Brady days who don't live
Right.
anywhere near New England? How many
Right.
people are fans of the Dallas Cowboys, no matter what they do, that don't live anywhere near Dallas or even in Texas?
Fair.
You know, how many fans do they have overseas, especially military wise? So the idea that you could sell them a package so they could watch their sport live somewhere, load it up and watch it, I think you would make a ton of money doing that. And people are always like,
Probably.
oh, but we want people to come into the stadiums. People are still going to go. Because to them, it's not just. What you got to understand is that most people don't make enough money to make or even own season tickets. And even with season tickets, you only get so many days, right? There's only so many. You can't go to every game with season tickets. Generally, you have selective games where season ticket holders can go. And so, like, you could buy a season ticket, and maybe there's a package that gets you every home game. But the point is, most people aren't going to have that kind of liquidity. You'll go to maybe one game a season. Maybe. Or one game every couple of seasons, and it'll be like a big hullabaloo that you go. You know? You don't get to go very often. And so that's a thing. Like, you save up and you do that. And you could still sell on a streaming service, you could still sell advertising rights. Because if you're streaming the game directly to somebody, there's nothing to say that you still can't take those commercial breaks and advertise to people. That still works. You know? You could still have a national advertising on all of those streams, so you could still pull in the ad revenue. I don't know, man. Like, I feel like that's going to become a thing, but I feel like there's a lot of older people who are resisting that. I'd say within the next decade or so, that's going to be the way we generally consume sports media.
Well, I think that's just where most media in general has been going. So
I agree with you, but there are some holdouts, and
the problem is that it's not as good as it used to be because now it's. I mean, streaming used to be something we did to get away from the cable and to cut down on costs, and now it's to get everything you want because cable's not really much of an option anymore. It's almost just as expensive as now getting cable. It's kind of ridiculous in some ways.
yeah, well, and it started with like Netflix and Hulu, and they had all the shows, right?
Yeah,
You could get all the movies and all the shows that you wanted.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
And
at first
then
it was
and then
nice, yeah.
the other companies, the UPN and CBS and Fox and Disney, they all started seeing how much money there was in that, and they started pulling their content from those platforms to make their own, not realizing that in this case competition isn't going to drive the market, it's going to dilute it.
Yeah.
And rather than buying in and investing more in the couple of companies that there could be, and signing, like, Disney would sign an exclusive deal with Netflix, and all of their stuff would only be on Netflix. And they would be partners with Netflix, who would then pay them a percentage of the blah, 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 blah. Rather than doing it that way, everybody decided to make their own platforms. If you were to only have, like, 2 or 3, and they were to have exclusive deals with exclusive places, then people could pick and choose what the fuck they actually wanted.
Yeah.
But, this is not about the end consumer. This is about how much money you can squeeze out of people. So.
Yeah.
All right. Enough of that depressing topic. Let's talk about a depressing topic. Injuries.
Woo.
Woo. So there were some injuries last week, and we did get some unfortunate injury news. Let's talk about the most unfortunate injury news first, and that is Jim Irsay has said that Richardson is probably done for the year. Sounds like he's about to have surgery on that shoulder that he sprained the AC joint in. They're going to go in and clean it up. So it sounds like Irsay thinks he's probably they're going to shut him down for the year. They don't want to take any chances. And you know what? I applaud that call. Don't rush him back. Don't RG3 this. Don't Andrew Luck this. Shut him down. Let him heal. Bring him back healthy next year. I can't
Yeah.
say that's the wrong choice.
I don't know.
I mean, am I disappointed we didn't get to see more of him? Yes, he was electric. Fun to watch. At the same time, don't ruin his career this early.
I don't know. I got worries about it, but we'll see how it goes.
What do you mean?
Well, just the longer you're off the field too, the more potential of rust growing too, and for somebody so young, yeah, I mean, you don't. It might not matter, and that's where I'm like, it might not really be a big deal. But at the same time, being that was your throwing shoulder too, it's you don't want to take too long to also try to knock that off too. So I don't know.
I see where you're coming from on that. That makes some sense. I don't think it's going to be a big deal because I do believe that he's young enough to bounce back from that fairly quickly.
Probably, but it just depends on how bad that sprain really was and how much it really affects that shoulder.
Yeah, and how much they're going to clean out of it and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the 49ers lost both Debo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey to injury versus the Browns. McCaffrey has some sort of oblique / rib injury, and
Seems to happen a lot.
Debo hurt his shoulder.
Yeah.
They are optimistically hopeful about McCaffrey, and it sounds like Debo is day to day. Is what has come out of the 49ers camp. Is that Debo is in his day to day. So we'll have to see how that plays out over in 49ers land. Justin Fields. Justin Fields did injure his hand. It was his throwing hand against the Vikings. They thought at first maybe he had broken his thumb. He did not. X-rays are negative. Our understanding is that he merely dislocated out of that thumb and did not return to the game versus the Vikings because he could not properly grip the ball. I don't think he's going to miss any time with that. I think he'll be back again next week.
Probably.
Let me see here. Trevor Lawrence. He left the field with a knee injury at the very end tail of their game. But it doesn't sound, from what I understand, it's nothing serious. He should be ready to go next week. Can I think of any other major ones? Oh! Yes, we can. There was a gentleman in the Bills game, and I even texted you about it. He got taken off in an ambulance with a neck injury. Poor Bills. However, it is said he was giving the thumbs up as they loaded him into the ambulance. And apparently we did get news out of the hospital that he could feel sensation in his fingers and his feet. So he does have feeling. He had feeling in them, that's very good sign. It sounds like it's a major stinger, but it also sounds like, there's nothing that's a permanent damage and he's not paralyzed or anything.
Right.
Which, good. Good. Nobody wants to have that happen. Also, poor Giants lost yet another offensive tackle. And Justin Pugh, who they literally signed to be a guard, and he just came back in this week, slid outside to tackle. And in fact, I will bring that up because it made me laugh. And I laughed and chuckled and smiled a little at it. When they were doing introductions in the Chicago game, you know how you go through and you say where you're from, what college you're from and everything? I'm so-and-so from Alabama, or I'm so-and-so from The Ohio State University.
Yeah, no, I know.
Justin Pugh, straight off the couch. Dude's got a sense of humor. I love it.
Pretty much.
Dude's got a sense of humor. I love it. Love it so much. I don't know. He's great. Okay. We do have one bit of good injury news. The good injury news is for the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers is walking around without a boot on. Already.
And apparently throwing the ball. Not like throwing, but just kind of generally tossing it around.
Yep. And you know what? That's a good sign. I don't know if he chased
Weird
down
though.
John Cena and drank some of his blood and got regenerative properties out of it or something, but whatever happened, you know what? You guys had better put your hands together and be thankful. And you got a lot of praying to do. Because there's a
It's
lot
still
of people.
too early. It's
No, no,
still
no,
way
no.
too
I'm
early.
saying you have some people you need to be thanking after this last week, and we'll get to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. All right. Can you think of any other major injury news? Did I miss anything that was big?
Was there any others? I don't think there was any others that I can think of,
No
or any
other
other news
big
that even
ones I
came
can
out.
think of.
Like there hasn't been any news on any of the other ones either that I can think of.
Not that I can think of.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then let's get into how badly I effed this up last week.
Well, see, my bird, get out of here, little butthole. You bite me.
You ready for this?
Sure.
So we'll start on Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
Do you need to spit?
No, I'm good.
Okay. We'll start on Thursday night. Broncos at Chiefs. We both picked the Chiefs. We were both correct, as the Chiefs did win that game. Although,
I told you it was gonna be close.
it was a lot closer than the score would indicate. Final score, Chiefs 19, Broncos 8. And, Mahomes didn't look great.
No. No.
Wilson looked even worse.
Yes.
So Mahomes was 30 of 40 for 306 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Pacheco carried 16 times for 62 yards, and Kelsey, 9 receptions, 124 yards, of course. It's Kelsey.
I was gonna say for a while there, it looked like neither team really wanted to play.
Yeah, because it was literally the entire first quarter, they got one field goal.
Yeah. And didn't it go into halftime 3-3 or something like that, or 6-6?
No, it went into halftime 13-0
Oh, okay.
for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Because as time expired in the half, Harrison Butker hit a 60-yard field goal. Otherwise, it would have been 10-0.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Because Kadarius Toney caught a touchdown.
Yeah, I remember that now.
And then there was 3 points in the entire third quarter.
Yep.
And then the Broncos finally scored in the fourth quarter and got a 2-point conversion. And then Butker hit another 52-yarder.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson, 13 of 22 for 95 yards, a touchdown and 2 picks, and a sideline interaction with the coach. Williams, 10 carries, 52 yards, and Sutton, 4 catches, 46 yards, and a touchdown. This isn't working. This isn't working. I don't know if Peyton is just riding this out and tanking it now on purpose.
I can't imagine he is. He's not the type that does that.
No, but if you haven't been able to fix Wilson and you don't think Wilson is it, you've got Caleb Williams that you have a chance at, or Penix Jr., or Bo Nix, or May. Drake, is it Jake May? Drake May? Cade May?
Drake May.
Drake May. Quinn Ewers. Right? You've got all of these potential quarterbacks. You could bring in your own guy. Right? Or you could maybe get a Kirk Cousins.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
He still doesn't seem like the type that would just do that intentionally, though. So
I have no idea what's going on in Denver right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe Peyton is washed. I don't know if maybe he just has been away too long and just doesn't have it anymore. I don't know if maybe he never had it and it was all Drew Brees.
Who knows?
I know. But it didn't look
Currently
good.
looking, it's currently looking very question mark. I don't know.
Yeah, the Broncos are. Remember what I said in my review early on this season, which is they can't be worse than last season, can they? I think they are.
Every time we think they can't get worse,
They just do.
they just get worse.
Yeah, that wasn't.
I mean, we made a joke about how he couldn't be worse than Urban Meyer, which he isn't. But like, this isn't much better though.
We'll save
Like at the
that
moment.
one for the last of the morning games. Instead, let's talk about the international game.
Oh yeah, okay.
You ready?
Didn't watch that one. Okay.
I kind of watched it.
I
Ravens
didn't get a
Titans.
chance to really watch much of it.
I got up early enough to watch it. And at least at the beginning, it had the same problem that the Broncos Chiefs did. Nobody wanted to play.
Nah.
Then eventually they all got serious. It literally the entire first quarter was field goal, field goal, field goal. And then it was field goal, and then finally somebody scored. But yeah, it was a very ugly game. Well, at least for the Titans, who lost 24-16. We both picked the Ravens to win, so we were both correct. Jackson, 21 of 30, 223 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Jackson also led the way for rushers on his team with 13 carries for 62 yards. Andrews, 4 catches, 69 yards. So, not horrible. Tannehill, 8 of 16 for 76 yards and a pick. Left the game with an ankle injury. It is confirmed. That's the one I missed. Left the game with an ankle injury. It is confirmed to be a high ankle sprain. Derrick Henry, 12 carries, 97 yards and a touchdown, and a lot of that came on one run. He got loose on one run and just 60-something yards. Tajay Spears led the receivers for the Titans. 1 catch for 48 yards.
Hell yeah.
Oh, God, that's so sad. But yeah, overall, this game wasn't really ever in doubt. And the Ravens moved to 4-2. The Titans moved to 2-4. It's starting to fall apart for the Titans. And I don't know, man. Maybe they need Malik Willis in there instead of Tannehill. Maybe it's just time to pull the plug on Tannehill and call it a season for him.
Yeah, who knows?
You know, let's see if Malik Willis can do better. It'd certainly be hard to do worse. Unless you're Russell Wilson. Who even then hasn't had a horrible season. The last game he played was really bad, but up until then, he's been decent, and the defense has been garbage. This time the defense was okay, and they couldn't generate any offense. Anyway. Moving down that list. Commanders, Falcons. We both picked the Falcons. We were both wrong. Commanders win it 24-16, ending Desmond Ritter's home winning streak. And Ritter, up and down. Up and down in the game. Howell, good game management. Howell, 14 of 23, 151 yards and 3 touchdowns. Robinson Jr., 10 carries, 31 yards. Scary Terry, 6 catches, 81 yards. Ritter, 28 of 47 for 307 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. Algiers, 13 carries for 51 yards. Drake London, 9 catches, 125 yards. So I think people are beginning to get tape on Bijan and key on him. So they're starting to slow him down. They're starting to try to make Ritter beat him with his arm. And Ritter is going to have trouble with that, I think.
I mean, he's got moments where he can, so I guess we'll see.
Yeah, he's making some really bad decisions.
Yeah, I agree with that. We'll see.
So we'll have to see how that goes. Um, next game down the list, unless you have anything else you want to add.
Nope.
Bengals, Seahawks. I picked the Seahawks. You picked the Bengals. You were correct. It was a close game, though.
It was.
Bengals win 17-13. I will say that the biggest problem the Seahawks seem to have is they could not punch the ball in once they hit the red zone.
Yeah.
I think that's what really doomed them. Geno Smith, 27-41, 323 and 2 picks. Kenneth Walker the third, 19 carries for 62 yards and a touchdown, and Lockett had 6 catches for 94 yards. Burrow, 24 of 35 for 185, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Mixon, 12 carries, 38 yards. Jamar Chase, 6 receptions, 80 yards. T. Higgins was back. Didn't make too much of an impact. Your scores were Walker the third, then Tyler Boyd, the fullback for the, I can't say his name, for the Bengals, Andre Iosivas, I believe. That's a hockey name. That sounds like a hockey name. Myers did kick a pair of field goals for the Seahawks, and then Evan McPherson kicked a 52-yarder to seal the win for Cincinnati. You have anything you want to add about that? Burrow didn't look great, but he's looking better.
He still looks very rough, yeah.
Yeah, but that calf injury does seem to be behind him now. He's starting to look better. I think over the next several games we'll see him round back into full form.
Mm-hmm.
So, Colts, Jaguars. We would both pick the Jaguars. We would both be correct. The Jaguars beat the Colts, a Richardson-less Colts, which looks like it's going to be that way for the rest of the season, 37-20. Is he trying to eat your eyeball?
No, he's just resting his face.
Okay.
He's just cuddling.
Okay. I didn't know if he was actually trying to peck into your eyeball.
Nope.
Okay. Hi, buddy. Now, the Colts did get the first points of the board. They kicked the field goal. And from there, it just turned into Jacksonville. They would go on to score 21 unanswered points before the Colts would get another field goal. And it was not a good day to be a Colts fan. Minshew, 33 of 55, 329, a touchdown and 3 picks. Zach Moss, 7 carries, 21 yards and a touchdown. And Pittman Jr., 9 catches for 109 yards. Lawrence, 20 of 30, 181, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Etienne, 18 carries, 55 yards, 2 touchdowns. Christian Kirk, 349 and 1. And if you're wondering how Jonathan Taylor did, 8 carries for 19 yards. And he also had 5 catches for 46 yards. I mean, I think it's going to be a long season for the Colts now. If Richardson really is out for the rest of the season, I don't see them winning very many more games. They're going to end up with another high pick.
Probably.
You know what would be really funny? If they drafted Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, they had his dad.
I know, but I don't think they will.
I still think it would be funny. I'm one of those people. Like, I'm happy the Steelers got Joey Porter Jr.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm one of those weird people. I like stuff like that. All right, moving down the list. Yeah, because we've got, let me see here. Those were the 3 late games. That's the Sunday night. Okay. All righty. Moving on down the list here, we've got the Panthers and the Dolphins. We both picked the Dolphins. Guess what? We're both correct. There may not be any more unbeatens, but there is still a winless team in the NFL. and it is the Panthers, who are now 0-6. After this game, Frank Reich has said that he is abdicating offensive play calling duties to the offensive coordinator. I hope that works out well for them.
I was gonna say, I don't necessarily think their play calling's been really all that bad. It's just the team's just not in a position where it's ready to win a lot. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. And somebody else I think said it the best, which is, I bench Bryce Young for the season at this point, and I don't think I'd have started him to start the season anyway. I think I'd have had him sit behind Andy Dalton for a season. Just get him ready, let him learn. He's obviously not C.J. Stroud, who appears to be the more ready guy. Again, I think Bryce Young might have a higher ceiling than Stroud, but currently he's a lower talent level currently, if that makes sense. Like, if we were to rate them, like, Stroud would be like an A-, and Young's like a B. But where Stroud's overall is an A, Bryce Young probably has an A+. If that makes any sense. But anyway, Dolphins win 42-21. Although the Panthers did have some hope, they scored the first 14 points of the game. And then it was all Dolphins. Bryce Young, 23 of 38, 217 and a touchdown. I think this is the most complete game I've seen him play so far.
At least early on, yeah.
Very early on, he looked a lot better than he has recently. Chuba Hubbard, 19 carries, 88 yards and a touchdown. Thielen, 11 for 115 and a touchdown. I will say, if I were the Panthers, I'd be trying to get back whatever money I just spent on fucking Miles Sanders, because Chuba Hubbard apparently is the guy you should be going with. Tua Tagovailoa, 21 of 31, 262, 3 touchdowns. Raheem Mostert, 17 carries, 115 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the Cheetah, 6 catches, 163 and a touchdown. Yeah, the Dolphins were never really in any danger of losing this game. They moved to 5-1. They are one of the best teams in football currently. Yeah. Now, surprise finish number 1. 49ers at Browns. We both picked the Niners, and we were both wrong. Browns win 19-17 as the Niners miss a field goal at the end of the game that would have won them the game. However, as we mentioned in this game, they did lose both CMC and Run CMC and Debo Samuel. Debo both went out. And Brock Purdy did not look good this game. Without those two people to help him out, Brock looked surprisingly mortal. 12 of 27, 125 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. CMC still led them in rushing yards despite leading the game with 11 carries for 43 yards. Ayuk, 4 catches for 76. PJ Walker, 18 of 34, 192, and 2 interceptions. Ford, 17 carries, 84 yards. There was a nice touchdown, 16-yard touchdown run by Kareem Hunt. And Amari Cooper, 4 catches for 108 yards. I will say that there was at least one penalty that on one of the final drives that allowed the field goal that gave them the 19-17 lead. That was an absolute travesty of a call. And then I would see that same style of play later in one of the afternoon games, and they'd get it right and pick the flag up. And basically what happened is they had a receiver coming slightly across the middle, and he would even if they missed the ball or caught it, I don't remember which it was, but the defender nailed him and hit him hard to the ground. The thing was, they called it for roughing, essentially. against the Niners. But if you watch the replay, he hit him all shoulder. Didn't lead with his head. Didn't even touch the head and neck area. Hit him right in the shoulder like you're taught to do. And I don't know if the league didn't get back to the ref crew in time, or if the ref crew didn't bother to try to consult the league. But they called that, and they shouldn't have. Are you awake?
Yes.
I'm making sure, because you look like you're asleep.
Nope. I'm listening very intently.
Anyway, I don't know if you watched that or got to see that game.
I was watching Red Zone, so they mentioned it, but I didn't watch the whole thing.
Yeah. But, yeah, the Niners would miss that. Did you get to see the missed field goal then?
I did, unfortunately, see that part. They still
Why?
had a chance to win.
They
Still
had a chance to win, despite the refs kind of screwing them on that. And again, you can't always blame the refs. I do think the refs got that wrong, but you have to play the hand you dealt, and then they missed the field goal at the end. I don't know what else to say about that. So the Niners did finally take that loss.
It's gonna happen eventually.
Yeah, nobody's going to go completely unbeaten, so the Dolphins can go ahead and pop champagne that they're still the only team that's ever gone unbeaten in a season. What is it, the 78 Dolphins?
I think so.
72, 78, something like that. All right. Texans at Saints. This would be another one I'm going to lose because you picked the Texans and I picked the Saints. And the Texans would beat the Saints 20-13. Great job by CJ Stroud. I'm not going to say that wasn't a great game for Stroud. The Texans played a very good game against what I consider to be a very good pass defense. It doesn't help that their offense didn't look very good, but Rashid Shaheed does continue to impress me as a receiver. So, I will say that. Nico Collins did get 80 yards. Olave picked up 96. Alvin Kamara picked up 68 on the ground. But CJ Stroud threw for 199 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I don't know how you throw for 353 yards and you still lose, because that's what Derek Carr threw for.
That's fair.
Yeah. But yeah, the Texans did win that. They moved to 3-3 on the year, the same as New Orleans. The Texans are a lot better than I thought they were going to be. CJ Stroud is a lot better than... I thought he was a little better than Bryce Young in my estimation. And it turns out that CJ Stroud is really good. But again, I feel like this is a Justin Herbert Tua Tagovailoa situation. As you remember, it took Tua a couple of years, and now he's fucking fantastic. Herbert's still really good, but early on it looked like Herbert should be, you know what I mean? It looked like they should have picked Herbert instead of Tua. Now everybody's like, oh, Tua.
Yeah, but everyone's like, oh, Tua, because he's throwing to freaking, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle.
I mean, that's a thing.
Let's be honest. If Justin Herbert was throwing to Tyreek Hill and Waddle, they would not have lost a game yet.
Yeah, they would have, because Brandon Staley would have figured out a way to screw that up.
Even he couldn't screw that combo up.
I disagree.
Because Herbert has a stronger arm than even Tua does.
Well, here's the problem, though, because this did come out. I was going to talk about this later, but I'll bring it up now real quick, since I did bring it up. And that's that Brandon Staley does not like to throw the ball. Brandon Staley is a run-first head coach, and he's asked Kellen Moore to try to run it more than he throws it. Because he likes to keep his defense off the field to keep them rested. And so he has asked Kellen Moore to run the ball more frequently than he throws it. I'm just saying.
Use the assets you got, dumb bitch.
I agree. I'm not saying anything about that. But I'm saying
Yeah.
that Brandon Staley's an idiot, and if he had those 2 assets, he wouldn't use them properly because he's a dumbass.
No, you see, the thing is, they're so good that even running screenplays, they can still get touchdowns. So, they would still find ways to win. And that's what I'm saying. Is they're still so good, so fast. They
Yeah.
would still win games off of like really shitty passing plays.
On to another coach that needs to get with the times.
Yeah, and he's younger than a lot of coaches too. So
Well, on with another coach that needs to get with the times and figure himself out. New England at Las Vegas.
oh, that's yeah.
Yeah.
I think both those coaches need to figure their shit out.
We both picked Las Vegas. We were both correct. The Raiders did win that game, 21-17. Although Garoppolo would go out, hurting his back.
Yep.
And be replaced by Brandon Hoyer.
Gross. I would rather have seen Aiden O'Connell in there.
I would too. And if Garoppolo can't play this week, I want to see O'Connell over Hoyer. However, let's talk about this. Mac Jones, 24-33, 200 yards and a pick. Stevenson, 10 carries for 46 and a touchdown. Bourne, 10 catches for 89 yards. Garoppolo, 14-22, 162, a touchdown and a pick. Jacobs, 25 for carries for 77. Michael Mayer, hey, look, there's a sighting of Michael Mayer. 5 catches, 75 yards. Woo. Yeah, and I do want to bring up that Malik Cunningham got signed off the practice squad by the Patriots. So we could see Malik Cunningham maybe taking over, because I think the Mac Jones experiment has run its course.
You would think so, but we'll see. I tend to agree with you, but I think I don't know. Bill Belichick's not the type that's just going to randomly throw in another quarterback for very little reason, unless he sees like unless Cunningham just is so impressive to him in comparison. But I just doubt that.
Well, watching the preseason, Cunningham was really good.
I know, but I just not that impressive. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. I have feelings that maybe he's under pressure to do this.
Yeah, probably.
From Kraft. Because Robert Kraft doesn't like the way things are going.
Oh, of course. That's why I was saying that Belichick's been on the hot seat for so long. Is that like, yeah, great, you've won championships. You've now had a dud year, another dud year, and definitely another dud year coming. So it's like,
yeah, you drafted a guy that everybody thought was going to be the next version of Brady, and he's not anywhere close.
No.
And because of that, and then you've made some really bad personnel decisions that have destroyed the kid's confidence.
Oh, you've made some terrible personnel decisions.
Yeah. So
that O-line is straight trash.
And not even just that. Let's talk about the fact that you had a defensive coordinator as your offensive coordinator last season.
Exactly. Like,
I get trying something new, but that was abysmal, my guy.
That was real dumb.
All right, moving along. Lions and Buccaneers, 2 teams. One that we were not surprised at with the Lions, and the other that we kind of are with the Buccaneers. We both picked the Lions. We're both right. The Lions would win 20-6 fairly handily. Jared Goff, 30 of 44, 353 yards, 2 touchdowns. They would lose that running back that they've got, Herbert.
Yep.
He sadly he got injured with ribs. However, Reynolds, 10 carries for 15 yards, and dude threw a mean block on the Amon-Ra St. Brown touchdown run early on in the game. So, kudos. Speaking of St. Brown, 12 catches, 124 for a touchdown. Baker Mayfield, 19 of 37, 206 yards and a pick. White ran 7 times for 26 yards, and Godwin was your leading receiver with 6 for 77. The Lions didn't get to Mayfield a whole lot, which surprised me. But he managed to find ways to get the ball out, which I'm impressed with. He's playing a lot better than what he has been.
For the most part.
Yeah, I think this is one of his better seasons. Really kind of impressive, if you ask me. Like, he's playing himself into a pretty good contract.
We'll see. I'm not sure about that, but we'll see.
However, the Lions, yeah, absolute kings of the North. They're playing top-notch football right now. They're playing absolutely top-notch football.
That's true. That's true, yeah.
Next game, Cardinals at Rams. We both would pick the Rams. We were both correct. The Rams crushed them 26-9. I don't know that we need to go over too many stats on that one. Kupp got a touchdown. Williams got a touchdown and ran for 158 yards. However, may not play in this next game because he's injured.
Yep.
Yeah, when your top rusher is your quarterback, you usually have trouble, and the Cardinals certainly did. So yeah, the Cardinals are slowly fading. Gone are the days where they're at least partially competitive. It doesn't help that James Conner is injured. That's certainly not helpful to them whatsoever. So yeah.
Sad times.
Let's talk about... Go back because we did miss a game because I was going to put it at the end of the morning games. Vikings at Bears. You picked the Vikings. I picked the Bears. And I was only wrong by 6 points.
Still wrong, bitch.
I was. The Vikings win 19-13. Their major... They were up... Let me see here. Going into the half, they were up 12-6. And then in the third quarter, Herbert would get hurt. Or not Herbert. Fields would get hurt. Justin.
Fields would get hurt.
Yeah, Fields would get hurt. And the backup quarterback, Bagent, I believe is his name.
I have no idea how you say his name, but yeah, I think so.
Bagent?
Bagnet?
Who didn't look horrible. He threw one
Not
bad ball
horrible,
that was picked
no.
off, but he was overall 10 of 14 for 83 yards.
Oh, and don't forget the fumble.
And I was about to say that in the third quarter, he was going to be sacked, and the Vikings batted the ball away from him, and it was fumbled, and then Jordan Hicks, somehow all of Chicago gave up on the damn thing, and Jordan Hicks took it 42 yards for a touchdown. Cousins threw for 181 yards, Hawk 6 for 50, Madison 18 carries for 44 yards, Donta Foreman 15 for 65, and Moore 5 for 51. I still honestly feel if Fields plays that game and doesn't get injured and taken out, I feel that the Bears probably win it.
I still disagree.
It's okay. Either way, that was a much closer game, and that game was ugly. Ugly.
Yes.
Yeah. And the Vikings had yet another fucking fumble that we lost.
Man, we love turning over the ball.
God. Actually, no, we didn't lose that one. Kirk threw it behind him. The running back Cam Akers had no idea it was coming. Live ball, looked like they recovered it. The refs ruled they did not recover it in bounds. However, three plays later, Kirk would throw an interception. Yeah. Although it wasn't really on Kirk. I forget who it was.
True.
Somebody got their hands up at the line of scrimmage. The ball popped way up in the air. And Chicago came down with it.
Yeah. True. Still not good, though.
Oh, no. Not good at all. Ugly. Very ugly. Now, let's talk about another one we both got wrong. And yet another surprising result. You ready for this? Eagles at Jets. We both picked the Eagles. We were both wrong. Jets win 20-14.
Crazy.
It was bananas, man. Absolutely bananas. So, up until Brees Hall ran it in at the end of the game, Jets couldn't punch it in the end zone. They had nothing but field goals. Zeuerlein and their defense kept them in that game. We should also point out the Eagles went into halftime up 14-9. The final score of the game was 20-14. The Eagles could not move the ball. The Eagles couldn't do shit in the second half of the game. The entire second half of that game, they were just smacked.
Yep.
Hurts threw 3, count them, uno, dos, tres, 3 interceptions. And if my memory serves me, at the very end of the game, yeah, he rolled out to the left and tried to launch the ball downfield into the end zone and had it picked off because he underthrew it.
Yep.
It wasn't a great game for Hurts. Wilson only threw for 186 yards, didn't throw a touchdown, didn't need to. He literally kept them in the game by getting them close enough all the time for field goals. He kept them in the game just enough for them to be able to win at the end. Which, let's be honest, that's all you really need. So, yeah, the Jets do win that one 20-14, and they better be thanking a god somewhere. Because they still are in it.
Sorta.
Let's talk about another ugly game. You ready for another ugly game? Giants at Bills. No Danny Jones for the Giants. Saquon is back.
Woo!
But no Danny Jones. We both picked the Bills to win, and we were both barely right. Bills win 14-9. However, at the end of there are 2 key sequences at the end of the game, or well, not just the end of the game, end of the half and end of the game, that really sealed out the Giants. First, at the end of the first half, they're up 6-0. They're on the goal line. They have a chance. They're out of timeouts, but they have a chance to they still have enough time to throw the ball once and then kick the field goal. However, they always send their quarterback in with an option out play, especially on the goal line like that. So if you don't like the read that you have, you option out. The option out was to a run. And Tyrod Taylor optioned out to the run rather than just throwing the ball away. You could have gone up 9-0, which would have been huge for the end of the game. However, by the end of the game, finally, you've got the Bills have scored twice. However, they managed to work it all the way back down to almost the goal line. They've got basically no time left and no timeouts, and they've got essentially what amounts to first and goal on like the 10. You got to get it into the end zone. They throw it to Waller. It's broken up, incomplete. However, flag. You now have an untimed down on the 1-yard line. You have Saquon Barkley. You can now, instead of audibling into a run play, you can set for a run play. Do you? No. You double tight end, try to pass it in. Ingram does not hang on. Game over. You think you would have
Yay.
learned from the Seahawks from that Super Bowl.
No.
No. No. But, be that as it may, I will say Tyrod Taylor, even with that minor gaffe, 24 of 36 for 200 yards. I don't hate that. Saquon, 24 carries for 93 yards, and Slayton caught 4 balls for 69. Josh Allen, 19 of 30, 169, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Cook, 14 carries for 71, and Stephon Diggs, 10 catches, 100 yards. The Giants really chased Allen around a lot. The Giants' defense actually looked really good. I'm not going to say crap about that. They looked pretty doggone good. I was pretty doggone happy with how they looked. They had a shot to win that game. They did lose it. Is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if you got to watch it or not.
A little bit. I didn't watch the whole thing.
And Dallas and the Chargers, and you said you were going to watch a little bit of that, but you weren't going to watch a whole lot of that.
Yeah, I only watched some of the beginning.
We both picked the Chargers. We were both wrong. As the Chargers found a way to jinx themselves and lose the game.
Like they always do.
Prescott, 21 of 30, 272, 1 touchdown. Herbert, 22 of 37, 227, 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. Prescott, 7 carries, 40 yards and a touchdown. And CeeDee Lamb, 7 catches for 117 yards. Austin Eckler, 14 carries, 27 yards. And Allen, 7 catches for 85 and a touchdown. I think I really turned it off in the fourth quarter. I think it was after the Brandon Cooks score. It was 17-10. I was like, I don't really care anymore. Despite the fact that the Chargers did go down to score to make it 17-17, the Cowboys would kick a field goal with 2:19 left, and the Chargers just couldn't get it done. Yeah, it's just Brandon Staley needs to go. Because there was a real chance for the Chargers to win that game. All right. However, on the 3 games we split on this week, you beat me in all 3 of them. So, there's going to be our totals again. I think you've overtaken me this week. I haven't done the official math yet.
I don't think so. It's close,
you weren't that far away from me.
No, but I think I still was far enough away that I think we're close. But I might be.
Yeah, even with 3 games, let's see here.
I might just tie it. I don't remember.
No, you're only 2 games off of me, so 3 games puts you in the lead by a game.
Okay, yeah. I knew it was still close.
Yeah, you're going to be after last week and this week, you're going to be in the lead by a game.
I don't expect there to be there for very long.
We'll see.
I just don't.
I think that's interesting. Ready to do some... Do you want to do power rankings, or do you want to do hit the showers and everything first? All right. So, let's go ahead and do hit the showers, Dante's Inferno, hot potatoes, game balls, and then do our power rankings, and then close up by taking our guesses for week 7.
Okay.
Hit the showers. You ready?
Sure, I guess.
You want to start? You want me to start?
Sure. I'll go first.
Okay, go first.
Number 1, refs. The refs just need to hit the showers.
Yeah, I can't disagree. It was another poor week. However, I'm also going to say Niners defense. Hit the showers. You had a bad week. Go cool off. You also got penalized a lot.
Oh, they did, yeah. Number 2, Jalen Hurts. That's probably your worst one. That guy hit the showers. That was a poor game.
Baker Mayfield. Calm down. Bounce back, hit the showers, you'll be okay.
Yep. Gardner Minshew. That
Oof,
was a rough game, my
that was
guy.
rough.
Hit the shower.
Geno Smith. You can
Oof.
do it. Bounce back, calm down, hit the showers.
Yep.
All right. Dante's. You ready?
Sure.
I'll start Dante's.
All right.
Mac Jones. Welcome to the third circle. You're not on fire yet, but you're heating up quite a bit, and you're probably going to lose your starting job. I'm not going to say you're totally done yet, because there's always a chance that you go to another team and you get fixed. But the way you're playing now, you got to be in there.
All right. Well, that's fair. I'll go for my first one here. Bill Belichick, fifth circle. My guy, what the fuck is going on in New England? Like, straight up, like I feel bad for Mac Jones because you took a guy who came out of college into his rookie year, who played the best football he's played in his rookie fucking year. How do you make him regress worse than his rookie year? That's pretty fucking bad.
I almost considered Bill over Mac. I just, for some reason, I went with Mac.
That's the only reason I'm going with Bill. Is because I just can't let that part go.
All right, my next one. Desmond Ritter. You're in the fourth circle. Look, I'm not going to say you're unfixable.
I get it.
You had a horrible, horrible game, and I honestly believe you cost your team the victory. So,
I don't know if I want to go that far.
People are starting to call for Heineke to take your place.
I still don't agree with that. I think he's still got plenty of talent to show there.
I think he does too. I don't know. There's something wrong there right now, and he's got to figure it out. But this is a little more than hit the showers. It's only a level 4. You're not toasted. You're not on fire yet. You're getting to be.
You're almost halfway there, though. It's pretty toasty.
You're getting pretty toasty. You're like Texas in the summertime right now.
Yeah, that's not fun.
No, it's not. But you got a chance to course correct here.
All right. Well, with my next one, Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, welcome to the seventh circle. You guys are a duo in this.
In this shit show.
Like, legit. Like, I wrote down here, Sean, you're starting to look like a fucking joke, and Wilson, I have only one word for you. Fucking backup.
That's 2 words.
I put the fucking in there. I originally wrote down only backup.
Well, it's 2 words unless you bundle them.
Hyphenate fucking bundle. Yeah, fucking backup. It's hyphenated. No, originally it was only just said backup. It's just, that's kind of how he's playing. He's playing like a fucking backup, a veteran backup, who can once in a while start games for you, but he's not your actual starter. But you're paying him like he's your fucking brand new starter, and that's just a... And Sean Payton is not helping at all. Like, he's just not.
Well, to join them down in the 7th circle, Brandon Staley. My guy. And this is primarily because of what got said, is that Brandon Staley wants more running when obviously your offense should be based around fucking Herbert throwing the ball everywhere.
Yeah.
And you've got an offense that should be a passing offense, and somehow you think you need to run more. And that's just stupid.
Yeah, it is pretty stupid. All right. Well, normally we don't double up, but I don't feel bad about this. Brandon Staley, welcome to the 9th fucking circle, my guy.
Oh, wow, you had him even lower than I did.
Yep. I mean, literally, like, everything on paper looks good. Play on the field most of the time looks good, yet you're still losing more games than you win. It's obviously not due to your players or even the poor play calling, though that isn't great. At a certain point, you have to look at the locker room and leadership. And if it isn't working when it should, then maybe you need a new fucking leader. So there you go.
I can't disagree with anything that you have said. Hot potatoes?
Sure. That's the only ones that I didn't actually have.
I've only
have
got
written
2. I
down.
don't even have 3. I've only got 2. I'll have
Yeah,
to
I
make a
don't have
third one up.
any. I don't even have any written down, so I'll have to come up with these on the top of my
You
head.
want me to start then? Because I do have a couple written down.
Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe the Jets could still make the playoffs?
No, absolutely not. I'm not even. Not only am I not eating that potato, I am throwing it back at you with such velocity that it becomes mashed potatoes on your chest. Like,
I mean, come on. They beat the Eagles. Their defense
no.
is keeping them in
Yeah, but the
games.
Eagles are not that. Listen, the Eagles are obviously struggling compared to the last year Eagles. This is obviously not the same Eagles. It should be the same Eagles, but
Offensive
something's wrong.
coordinator.
Well, that, and don't forget what I told you also. It is not unusual for teams to come off of a Super Bowl and have a down year
Yep, 100%.
because they feel like they've crested already. They had
Yep.
their big year and we could do it again, and then they don't try as hard because they're not as hungry.
Yep.
And as much as they'll tell you that that's not true, that's probably actually true. So this is not surprising that they're still good, don't get me wrong, but this is not surprising to me that they are going to stumble on occasion. But the Jets, man, there's just the only way they have a chance at playoffs is if they actually do attempt to make a trade for a QB, because they're not doing it with Zach Wilson. I don't think they're going to do it. And so I don't think they're making playoffs.
Well, I was also
Just
thinking
straight up,
about, is Aaron Rodgers well ahead of schedule? How far ahead of schedule is he?
Best case scenarios is I'm guessing December, and even then I think it's too late. And even then I think that's still too early for him to come back, because this is far too early. Like, we're talking, less than 6 months almost? Like, I doubt it.
We'll see.
So yeah, no, that's my feelings on that. Maybe Derek Carr is just a stat patter? Because, I mean, you and I talk about how, like, he's always this underrated guy, but we've now seen him go to another team where he puts up great stats and still fucking loses games, just like Kirk Cousins.
I mean, I'll throw him in that category. I'll eat it. I'll eat it.
Like,
It's
it feels
not-
bad
it's
to
not-
say
I'm
it,
not
but
gonna
it's
garnish it all the way out, but I'll eat it. I
feel good
say
to
the
say,
evidence.
but-
There's enough evidence there to agree with you.
Yeah.
There's
Doesn't
enough
make me feel
evidence.
good. Doesn't make me feel good, though.
There's enough evidence there that yeah, there's enough evidence there to make that assumption.
I don't like it, though.
I don't really like it either, because I like Derek Carr, but
Yeah.
at this point I don't see any alternative that makes any sense.
Yeah.
You know,
He'll win if you give him a good team around him, but I don't think he's the guy that brings the team together.
even if you
That's
have
just
a
how-
good
how
team,
it
because I
feels.
think New Orleans does have a pretty good team. It's just
Even then, it seems like it doesn't quite work. Yeah.
there's something not clicking there, and I don't know what it is.
It's almost like there's not like a full-on leader to rally the team together, and it seems like Derek's just not that guy. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it just doesn't seem like it.
I don't know, and that could very well be. I can't figure out what's entirely broken there.
Yeah.
I wish I could. It would make a lot of sense.
Agreed.
Maybe the Giants should just stick with Tyrod Taylor? I think they looked better offensively with Taylor in there. Now, I wonder how much of that, because I even saying it, I'm like, but Barkley was back. So how much of that is attributed to the fact that receivers are now open downfield because you've got Saquon?
Yeah. So, well, what I was gonna say is that I get why you would say that, but Tyrod Taylor is another one of those types of QBs, in my opinion, that's a veteran QB, that's a backup who can start you a couple games, play pretty good in those couple games, make you think that maybe he could be a starter, but every time he gets a chance, it's always this 50-50, it never quite get there kind of quarterback, right? And that's the kind of QB he is. Like, he's never going to be a solid starter that you can potentially make playoffs with. You just don't have that kind of trust in him. So I don't think so, because the thing is, as much as we rag on Daniel Jones is one of those special cases of he is good enough to make playoffs. The problem is he's this streaky little asshole. Like, he just can't somehow get it all together all the time. Um, and that's what makes it probably really frustrating to be a Giants fan right now, is that he's good most of the time. But the problem is most of the time ain't fucking good enough to win you a Super Bowl. So now you're struggling trying to find somebody who's just as good or if not better, kind of like what the Vikings have with Kirk Cousins. Uh, so no, I don't think going with Tyrod Taylor for the rest of the season is going to really do you much good, especially after paying Jones as much money as you did, and you're knowing you're not going to be able to move that contract. So bite the bullet. Hopefully everything starts to kind of come together at some point in the season.
Okay, I can see that.
Um. Hmm. Hmm. Maybe now that the Rams have Cooper Cup back, they can make the playoffs.
I mean,
And they still have Puka still
I
playing
was
well
going to
too.
say
So
Cooper, Puka, Tutu. That's
Green
not
Williams.
far fetched. I'll eat that potato plain.
Yeah,
It's not
Green
far
Williams too.
fetched. It's the, you know what? I think they're going to be a lot better than what we thought they were. I'm not even going to write this one down because I already have it in my head.
Ah, okay.
But no, I'll eat that. I think you're correct. I think Cooper is good enough as long as he doesn't get hurt again.
Yeah.
And Puka, the two of them, along with Tutu Atwell, they're just going to carve up defenses. I don't know that there's enough. You don't have enough defensive backs on the field to stop them.
And then you got the running game of Green Williams that's coming out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. All right.
like that guy's actually on my running back roster for the last like 2 or 3 weeks, and he just earns me a steady, constant 20 points. It's ridiculous.
Yep. Although he may be out this week.
Potentially, unfortunately, I hope not.
Okay, this one is a spicy meatball, and I think you're probably going to reject it out of hand.
Okay.
Maybe the Vikings should just blow it up and sell at the deadline?
Like we've already kind of talked about, there's not much you can really sell and move. Like, listen, if you can find a partner for Cousins that makes sense for you, and find a partner for Hunter, or find a partner for some of these other guys, go ahead and try. But I just don't think with the contracts as they are that you're going to get much. I think the only person that you could potentially move is Hunter, and it's got to be for the right price because he's actually doing good this year. So I'm kind of on mixed feelings of it. I don't disagree that if the option's there that you should do it, but if there's no, but don't give away your pieces either for nothing either. Don't blow it up just to get stuff. Blow it up to get good stuff. If there's nothing good, don't do it. That's how I'll put it.
I can see that. So you'll eat it plain, but you don't like it.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
In the right circumstances, I'll eat it.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Yeah, but it's got to be the right circumstances.
Yep.
All right. Hit me with your last one.
Ooh. Maybe. Just maybe. The Texans are a dark horse for the Super Bowl now.
Too spicy. I'm a pass as of right now. If you'd have said playoffs,
I thought about playoffs, but I wanted to make it extra spicy.
Nope. If you'd have said playoffs, I'd have probably eaten it. But
that's why I said dark horse, because I was just like,
Bowl?
maybe dark
No,
horse.
No, not yet. Next year, if they keep playing this way, absolutely. And you know what I love about it? The more they win, the worse Arizona's other draft pick gets.
I know, right? That's hilarious. They just keep getting sadder and sadder.
Aww.
No,
You're still gonna have a top. You're still gonna have a top 5 pick, Arizona. Shut up.
Yeah, but you'd want 2 if you can.
You're not gonna get 2. You might have 2 top 10.
I don't know.
Picks.
The Bears might get 2.
The Bears might have 1 and 2. Oh Jesus! What would you do with that?
Probably keep one, trade the other.
Nah,
because
I know
that way
exactly
you still get a high
do.
pick, and then you
No,
still
I know
can
exactly
get more.
what I'd do. I'd trade Fields. I'd draft Caleb Williams, and then with number 2, I'd draft Marvin Harrison Jr. Done.
I don't know. I'd probably trade out of the second, to be honest, but that's just me.
Done. Oh lordy. Alrighty, game balls. Game balls. You want to start?
Game balls. All right, game ball. First one, Raheem Mostert. Enjoy your game ball, sir. 3 touchdowns, 2 running, 1 in the air.
Same game. Same game. Cheetah. You deserve a game ball, sir. We haven't given you one yet, but all you've done is quietly collect 150-yard games like they're fucking trophies.
That's the problem. That's the only reason I can't keep giving them to him, because after a while, you keep giving them to him every fucking goddamn week.
I'm gonna do it this week because you know what? I haven't.
I'm waiting for him to have
yet.
like one of those crazy ass games, you know.
This is as good as I think. This is just like standard for him. So you know what?
I'm waiting for him to have like a 200-yard, 3 touchdown game or something.
Here's a blanket. Here's a blanket one for all of the good things you're going to do, and then we'll give you one anytime you do something stupid.
All right, next one. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 12 for 15, 124 yards and a touchdown.
Same game. Jared Goff, 30 of 44, 353, and 2 touchdowns.
And then the surprise for me, the entire Vikings defense. 2 interceptions, 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, and a touchdown.
I also have a defense on here, but mine is the Jets defense.
Oh, yeah,
with those 3 interceptions and the fact that they actually helped win the Jets the game because on one of those interceptions they took it all the way down to like the 5-yard line, which allowed Breece Hall to punch that fucker in and give them the win. Jets defense, you get a game ball. Good job.
Fair enough.
Power rankings?
Sure, why not?
You want to start? You want me to start?
Sure, I can start. I honestly have no idea how many teams have changed out of my top 10 from last because I deleted all of mine from last. However, I can say there's quite a few teams here that are pretty much the same. Again, just shuffled around.
Yeah,
there's a lot of teams that are the same that are just shuffled around. So number 10, I believe, is actually the same number 10 that I had last time, possibly. It is the Houston Texans. They just barely make my top 10. I think that even though they're 3-3, they have looked fantastic in all of their games, and they've made all of them close, and they're starting to win games now, and I'm thinking that this is going to be finally that trajectory where they start kind of starting to take off. They start really feel themselves. Now, whether they actually make it to playoffs or not, don't know, but I think this is where you start to really see them start to see what kind of Texans team you're going to have.
They'd be pretty close on mine. They did not make my top 10, but they are just outside of it.
Yeah, they just ended up pushing out a couple teams, too.
My number 10 is a 3-3 team as well. And it is the New York Jets.
Yeah, they are just sitting outside my top 10 right now.
Yeah, like the Texans just sitting out mine. I put the Jets in, but it's for pretty much the same reasons, which is their defense is looking good. They are winning games that they would have lost last year. While Zach Wilson isn't good enough to win them the games, he's no longer bad enough to lose them games. which I think is
debatable.
Which I think, well, so far, recently.
So far he's been okay, but he's had some games that have been a little.
Yeah, but I'm talking about recently. Ever since the Chiefs game? Yeah, ever since that Chiefs game, he's been pretty good. So I think he's figured out how to not lose games, which is, I think, important. He's won 2 in a row now. He helped beat an unbeaten team by not turning the ball over. So yeah, the Jets are going to go in here because they have a really good defense. They're starting to really feel it. They play as a team. I think they're doing pretty damn good.
Fair enough. All right. At my number 9, I have the Jaguars. They have fallen fairly quick down my list, unfortunately. The thing is, they're a team that should be better than what they have. Like they should. There's some of the games that they've lost. I don't think they should have lost, and the games that they're winning, they're kind of barely winning. It just feels like something's slightly missing with the Jaguars for me.
My number 9 is the Bengals.
No, they're not even on my top 10 either.
I'm going to throw the Bengals on there because I feel like they're starting to finally feel themselves.
I need a little bit more time before I throw mine on there. Yeah,
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it this week. They're T. Higgins is back. Burrow doesn't completely look like Burrow, but he also looks better than he did to start the season. I feel like the Bengals are finally starting to figure out what and who they are again this season, and I think they're going to become dangerous once again.
Wait. So my number 8, I have the Baltimore Ravens. They are quite talented, but they still just are kind of missing that extra oomph. It feels like it just feels like there's another gear that I feel like they could still unlock with that team, and they're just sitting. They're not quite there yet, so they're sitting a little lower. But I think they can move up pretty quick. We'll see.
I also have the Ravens at 8 for pretty much everything you just said. They're good, but they're not great, and I feel like they should be great.
Yeah, it just feels like there's something slightly not quite there or missing, or
yeah.
I don't know what
some
it
of the
is.
stuff they've lost, you've gone what?
Yeah.
So we'll see. They've got some potential there. We'll see how it works.
Yep. All right, moving on to number 7, I have the Dallas Cowboys. You want to talk about somebody who is super swingy? These are these guys, man. They can go from impressing you to looking like one of the best teams ever to looking like, what the f is this?
That's why
they're sitting at 7. That's the only reason they're. See, they're at my 7s because they're still good enough, but they're just all over the fucking place.
They'd be at like 11 or 12 for me.
Yeah, they're still very good.
They're good. When they're good, they're good. But it seems like, and this is me, they have a really great game where they win something, and then they play like ass, and then they win something, and then they play like ass. Like they started the season with 2 wins, and then they lost to the Cardinals, and then they won the next week, and then they got beat by the Niners, and then they won this week, barely, and barely. I don't know what they're going to do next week. I don't know what that team is week to week. That's the biggest problem I have with them.
The reason why they're still in my top 10 is because they just happen to be a team that's won more than they've lost, and at this point in the season, that does matter. And while it hasn't been great, it's one of those weird things where, like I said, their wins look great, but their losses look spectacularly bad too. So it's like
that's why I couldn't justify it. That's why the Jets and Bengals are on my team.
Just weird.
My number 7 is the Buffalo Bills, who they still look good, but they no longer look great. Josh Allen looks pretty good, but there's something off. I can't put my finger on it. And I don't know if it's the fact that they lost Matt Milano on defense. I don't know what's going on, but something isn't right with the Bills. They barely won that game against the Giants. And something is off.
Right.
Can't put my finger on it.
All right. So my number 6, got the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't like it. They're lower than I would have expected, but the problem that I have with them is that they just don't look great. Like, they just look good. And it feels weird. It feels wrong. I don't like it. So they're sitting at 6.
Fair. Fair. I have them higher, but that's just me. My number 6 is the Jags. Because I feel like ever since the London games, they're starting to find their stroke again. Just like last year, they went to London and they came back a different team. I think the same thing happened again this year.
We'll see. I still am waiting to see that big showing that Trevor was putting on at the end of last year. I'm still waiting to see those games again because I'm still not seeing those games.
They had a good game last week.
They did, but it just feels...
I would like to see another one of those, or they could fall. But currently, I feel like they have turned a corner. I could be wrong. It's just a gut instinct.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, at number 5, I have the Bills. I have them a little higher than you do because I see flashes of greatness within this team. Like you said, they're not. The problem is that they're not consistent that way. They're good. They're very good most of the time with flashes of brilliance. And I think that if they can just capture that brilliance a little bit more, capture that genie, so to speak, this is a team that can still make those big games and those big pushes for the playoffs. But yeah, they're not able to capture the genie in the bottle as well as they used to. Something's definitely I don't know if they're moving a little slower. I don't know if Josh Allen's a little slower. It feels like something is. It does feel like there's a slight misstep going on there.
I'm making a last minute adjustment because I just something in my head said I needed to change a few things.
Fair enough.
So, last minute adjustment. My number 5 team now is the Philadelphia Eagles, whom I've been kind of wary of most of this season, just because they haven't looked like the Eagles of last season. And like we said, that Super Bowl hangover type of thing and everything else that's going on. And there's something not clicking there. And now you go and lose to the Jets like that. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
You're going to come down quite a bit.
Yeah, that's fair. And for all those same reasons, I have the Eagles at 4. Just feels like Super Bowl hangover. They're still winning games. They're still being resilient. But, it's... At any point, like I was saying, they could lose a game, and an important one that they shouldn't lose. And that's exactly what happens. And I don't think it'll be the last time it happens. You'll just see them randomly lose games that they shouldn't because of this.
I can't say that's entirely wrong. So my number 4 is the Kansas City Chiefs. Again, I don't think they look entirely like the Chiefs from last season, but they still look good enough. I am worried about what happens with them, but they keep finding ways to pull victories out. They haven't lost since week 1, where they barely lost to the Lions. So, you know what? Leave them at 4 for right now.
Okay. At number 3, I have the Miami Dolphins. This might be a little lower. You could argue that they could be a little higher, but I feel like any one of these in the top 3 could be kind of interchangeably moved around, so to speak. But the Dolphins are just looking good. You have Cheetah doing what Cheetah does best. You have Waddle doing what Waddle does best. Even without their running back, Achon, they still have Mostert still doing well enough. And Tua's just feels like he has all the time in the world when he's throwing the ball.
Yeah.
Like, it just feels like he's got all the time in the fucking world in there. So
I also have the Fins at 3. That was the last second edition I made. I had them at 5. I bumped them up to 3. Bumped both the Chiefs and the Eagles down. Because you're right. Ever since they got beat and spanked by the Bills, they've gone right back to being absolutely dominant on offense. So I think that was just one of those games. They had just dropped a 70 steamer.
They were tired. They were tired from beating the shit out of the Broncos.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's
what it was. They were just like, whoo!
Their fists were still bruised.
Yep. And now they've come right back. They're still playing really well. And for all the reasons you said, I think they are number 3.
All right, so sitting at 2, I had the Detroit Lions. I have them sitting at 2, not 1. I know you probably have them at 1. I have them at 2. I just feel that there are moments where the Lions aren't quite the Lions. Granted, I am not quite taking into account the fact that the 49ers did lose Debo and McCaffrey into this at all. Like, I didn't think about that when I made this list, because otherwise I might have swapped them. But I think if I'm going for ultimate power rankings, because I imagine they're going to be back, I still think this fits. The Lions are just a really good team, but the problem is the 49ers are just a little better at everything the Lions do, basically. Like, they're just a little better in almost every way. The only difference is, I think I would argue that the Lions' defense is maybe a little better at the moment. Just a little bit. But otherwise, they are very comparable teams, surprisingly, actually. Like, running back, obviously, you're thinking CMC. He's great. You're right. But man, does he like getting injured every season? So the Lions might not have as good of a running back, but it's not like Gibbs is a bad running back, and we don't even know if he's going to have an injury problem because he hasn't.
Well, Gibbs is out right now. He's injured.
Yeah, but we don't know if that's going to be a constant issue or not. So we just don't know. And who's their secondary?
Herbert, isn't it?
Is it Herbert?
Yeah, isn't Herbert the guy that's mostly carried the load for them?
I don't remember. Probably. It's one of those things that's like,
or Montgomery
it's still
or something?
Working. No, I think it's Montgomery. Yeah, it's Montgomery.
Yeah, Montgomery.
Which it clearly still works. They're doing that dual tandem back system, which works. I don't know. I just find it interesting because you have the Ayuk from, over on the 49ers, who can kind of do a little bit of everything. But then in Detroit, you have Sam Brown, who can kind of do a little bit of everything, kind of like Brandon Ayuk does. But then you have the Jameson Williams right over in the Lions. On the 49ers, you got your Debo. Like, it's just funny. Like, how
Kittle
similar the teams. Kittle, Porter, like, it's literally funny how similar the teams really
Hutchinson,
are.
Bosa.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they're so 1-to-1 that, like, you could honestly swap these 1 or 2. You could ask me tomorrow who's number 1 and who's number 2, and I might change my mind. Like, you could ask me in 30 minutes, and I might change my mind.
So my number 2 is the Niners, and the only reason is because they did suffer the loss.
Yeah,
and I felt like that deserved something. And again, we could flip flop on because we all know that the Niners are 1 on you, and then the Lions are 1 for me. Yep. I feel really weird about putting Detroit number 1 at anything.
I know, right? It feels weird. It
feels
right.
It feels wrong. But you know what?
It feels wrong.
Lions fans, for all of you had to suffer through, for everything you suffered through, you deserve this.
I think this is the first time I can finally say this. You can have shit in Detroit. What the fuck is this?
I don't know.
This feels wrong.
It feels wrong. But again, as we're mentioning, they are very mirror imagey of each other. And I think I don't remember what channel I saw it on, but somebody called Dan Campbell the smartest meathead in sports.
He kind of is, though. Like, if you think about it, he acts like such a doofus goofball jock, but if you actually sit down and interview with him seriously, like, he's actually a highly intelligent individual. It's weird.
There's another what's his name from the Cardinals? Gannon?
Oh,
Jonathan Gannon? Apparently he acts like a total doofus, but super intelligent. All of the players love him.
That's kind of Pete Carroll too, though. Carroll's
a
fucking weirdo.
I've heard all about Pete Carroll and just the weird crap he does.
Dude, he literally uses a scooter to get around the fucking, like, whole entire facility. He just scooters around everywhere. Yeah. Like, apparently that's common. He just scoots everywhere.
Anyway. So yeah, that's kind of our power rankings. I've got Lions at 1. You've got Niners at 1. I got Niners at 2. You have Lions at 2. And, I mean, I can't really say that right now there's too much. It'll start getting weird by probably about week 10 or 11. Once we really start.
Maybe.
Because by then we'll start really knowing who's who and what's what.
Yeah, I was gonna say that won't necessarily be weird as much as we'll start seeing our lists start to condense to being much more
And
similar.
filter, yeah. And it'll be pretty frequent. It'll be harder to drop off and harder to jump on.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Ready to pick them?
I guess I have no idea what games we have, so we'll see.
Well, here we go. I've already pre-selected some of these for you again.
Okay.
Because I'm fairly certain what you're going to pick.
Okay.
All right, week 7 for the NFL. We're going to start Thursday night with Jags at Saints.
I mean, Saints could win that, but I'm going with Jags. I think the Jags have a better chance.
I already marked you down for the Jags, and I also took the Jags.
I think they have a better chance there.
Now, Sunday games, early games. Browns at Colts.
I don't know. Is Watson gonna fucking play? Like, do we know that?
Does it matter?
Slightly.
I mean, the Browns' defense is one of the best defenses in football.
Yeah, but I still feel like the Colts could win that if Deshaun isn't playing, though. I just got that feeling. But if Deshaun plays, I think they'll probably win.
I think he's scheduled to play.
Yeah, I'll go Browns. I don't like it, but I'll go Browns.
I'd already kind of marked you for the Browns because I don't feel the Colts anymore this season.
I think Minshew's good enough to still win out a couple games. I think we'll still win 4 or 5 games.
I also have you pre-marked on this one. We'll see if I'm right. Bills at Patriots.
Oh, definitely the Bills. That's not even close.
Yep, I'll mark you for that. Here's where I think things are going to get harder to choose.
Okay.
You ready?
I guess.
Commanders at Giants.
It's not hard to choose. See, that's hard to choose, but not because it's going to be a good game.
Exactly. What team are you getting from either of them?
I guess I have more faith in the Commanders, so that's where I'm going.
I will take the Giants. Not because I have more faith in them. I have more faith that now that Saquon is back, if you get Daniel Jones back and the way the defense played, maybe. Here's one that's going to be tough because it's good. Lions at Ravens.
Yeah, that one will be probably pretty good, but I still am going to give the slight edge to my Lions. I just feel like those Lions
I agree that I think the Lions are going to win that.
Yeah, I just have a feeling that specifically the Lions are going to abuse that O-line of the Ravens. We've seen that already happen to the Ravens before. I think the Lions are just going to abuse the shit out of that O-line and make it really hard for Lamar to have a good passing day.
I agree. Here's one that's going to be tough because it's going to be bad. Raiders at Bears. Your face.
Do we even know if Jimmy G is even going to play?
We do not know the status of Jimmy G.
And we don't know the status of Fields either, do we?
Nope.
He's probably playing, but we don't know for sure.
I would guess he's going to play, but I don't know about Jimmy G.
Oh, boy. I guess I'll go with the Raiders.
I guess I'll pick the Bears. They wouldn't burn me 2 weeks in a row, would they?
I don't know. I'm hoping for the Raiders 2 weeks in a row, and that might be a bad decision, too.
Here's another one that's interesting.
I already got the jackpot once. Can I do it twice?
Here's another one that's going to be interesting. And I don't know if it's because it's going to be bad or good.
Okay.
Falcons at Buccaneers.
Hmm. You know, I think I'm gonna go with the Falcons on that one.
I will pick the Bucks.
Like, I know it sounds weird, but it just feel like they're not gonna be able to stop Bijan, and that's the reason that's gonna open up their passing game.
We'll see. We'll see.
If they stop Bijan, then that'll be the game. But if I feel like the Bucks aren't gonna be able to stop him.
Here's another one that's interesting. I kind of am leaning one way, but I don't know how to feel about it. Steelers at Rams.
I want to believe in the Steelers, but the problem is they haven't been showing me the goods.
They
Where the
haven't,
Rams-
and Matt Canada is just garbage at calling plays. And unless we know Pickett is going to just start audibling out of things.
Yeah, and the Rams have been slowly making their way back with players starting to kind of pick it up and Cup coming back. That offense starting to look good. That defense still shit. But that Steelers team is so bad on offense that I'm not sure it's going to matter. So I'm probably going to go Rams.
Okay, I agree with you. I wasn't entirely sure what way to feel, but the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, no, I think the Rams are going to be able to get that one.
Steelers
I'm pretty
could
sure
win,
I know
but
how I feel about this one, but this game isn't going to be great either. Cardinals at Seahawks.
Yeah, it's not going to be a great game, but that should be a Seahawks win. Just
be.
because, like, you have so many issues for the Cardinals there. Like, they just have too many problems.
All right, here's one that's probably going to lay an egg and be one of the worst games we're going to see.
I know, we've seen some pretty bad games already.
Packers at Broncos.
I don't know. I still think that Broncos-Miami game is probably going to still be one of the worst games, but we'll see.
Well, that was exciting because there were 70 points scored. When I say worst, this game's going to be like 6-9.
Yeah, probably.
It's going to be
that
dull,
New England game was pretty boring too, though.
Huh?
The New England game last week was pretty boring, though. Like, I don't know.
It really was.
I don't like the Packers.
I don't either.
I do think they are slightly better than the Broncos overall, though.
I mostly agree,
but how much do I believe in Jordan Love? I don't think he's the next guy, but he's still not bad. He's going up against a Broncos defense that is okay at best. Mostly because you have Patrick Surtain, and if you didn't have him, that would be a shit defense. Oof. But then you have the Broncos side. You have Russell Wilson not looking good. But then the Packers defense. The Packers defense, I think, is actually one of their okay spots.
They are questionable on Zane Anderson and Devondre Campbell and Aaron Jones.
Oh, missing out on the running game is going to make that hard. Makes it almost an equal game in some ways. I don't like it, but I'm going to pick the Packers. It makes me gross.
I don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to pick the Broncos.
Well, I hope you enjoy making the same mistake that I did in the first couple weeks.
I really, really want to make this mistake. Not because I hate the Packers, just because I feel like I believe in Russell Wilson slightly more than I believe in Jordan Love. And in a game of shitty teams, I think I trust Russell Wilson to win a game more than I trust Jordan Love not to lose one.
I would normally agree with you, but
if the Packers had A.J. Dillon, if I knew for certain he was playing, I'd take the Packers.
Again, I get what you're saying, but, like, Russell Wilson ain't Russell Wilson anymore, man. Like, he just isn't.
You're right. But if you look at their stats, which I just did, by the way,
Of course.
I don't know if it includes this last week. I don't think it includes this last week because I think Wilson threw like 3 interceptions or something.
He did.
Before incorporating those stats, Jordan Love is 90 of 162 for 1083, 8 touchdowns and 6 picks, and Russell is 122 of 185 for 1,305 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 4 picks. If you look at it, I trust Russell more than I trust Love.
Problem is, I just don't trust that Broncos defense. That's the problem.
I don't like it either. But
listen, if don't get me wrong, Miami's great. You still got hung 70 points on. Miami hasn't done that to other teams. I'm just like, don't get me wrong, they still score like 30 points. But if they score 70 on you, that means that defense is hot garble.
Last of the afternoon games, Chargers at Chiefs.
Honestly, I think this game's going to be probably closer than people expect just because the Chiefs are not playing as well as they normally do.
I agree.
Are they playing at Chiefs?
They're playing at Chiefs.
Okay. I'll give the slight edge to the Chiefs because they're playing at Arrowhead, so I'll go with Chiefs.
I will also take the Chiefs, but not because they're playing at Arrowhead, just because I think the Chargers will find a way to charger it up.
You would think so, but I still think it's going to be somehow close.
Oh, it'll be close, and then the Chargers will blow it in the end. Which Chargers fans should be used to by this point.
Yeah, it's a little sad to even be thinking that, to be honest, though. It's a little sad we have to say that. Yeah, you like the Chargers, enjoy almost winning.
Now for the fun Sunday night game. Dolphins at Eagles.
Dolphins.
I had you down for the Dolphins. I will also take the Dolphins. Again,
I think it'll be close, but I think
it'll be close, but there's something not right in Eagle Land, and the Dolphins are amazing.
And while the Dolphins' defense isn't great, I think it'll be good enough to at least make the Eagles hesitate a little bit more.
Yep. And the Monday night game. You ready?
Sure.
Niners at Vikings.
Monday night Kirk. Oh boy.
Prime time Cousins.
Prime time Monday night Kirk. Fuck no. The 49ers are probably winning that. Even without CMC and Debo, they probably still win that.
I agree. Even without them, because at least you'll have a game plan that doesn't involve them, so you'll be ready to work around it. I also look, I don't like the Vikings defense for that. I just don't trust it at all.
I don't trust the Vikings offense against that defense, especially without JJ.
Yeah, 100%. So the Niners, primetime Cousins, plus the Niners.
If we somehow win that game,
plus the Niners,
I will be astonished.
Plus the Niners angry about last week equals Vikings are going to get their heads caved in.
If we somehow win that game next week, man, or on Monday, like what?
Game.
Can you imagine if we somehow win that game?
If we win that game, that's our Super Bowl win right there.
I don't know about that. That's a little early.
All right, but yeah, that's next week. We will see how that goes.
Hopefully not terribly.
I worry about us somewhat, but I guess that's kind of where this week is going to wrap up. I will say that if you are in they're not paying me for this. I just want to shout it out because I like it. If you're in the Colleen Cove Heights area where I live, and you happen to be a hirsute person, like me, and you happen to have a beard, like me, I highly recommend Shelly's Beard Bar up in Cove. Look them up online, make an appointment. You will not be disappointed. My beard looks great now, or at least better than it did. They got great products, they got a great knowledgeable staff, they know what the hell they're doing, and they gave me a lot of knowledge and tips that I didn't know. So,
Nice.
all of that being said, we hope that everybody has another great week. We will be back here again next week to talk about Week 7 and see how we did. As we mentioned, Chris should have a 1-game lead on me at this point in the standings. We'll see how we go after next week, because he and I did split on a few games. And we'll see how that works out, because I'm not 100% confident in some of my picks, because
None of the splits we had did I feel good on.
I don't either. There's a lot of hot garbage games.
Yep.
And we're not 100% sure what team is what right now still. That's the biggest problem. And then, like I
I mean, we
mentioned,
have some teams we kind of know what they are, but there's
there's a
quite
lot
few
of
teams where we
fluctuation. Like,
just-
what are the Falcons?
yeah.
What are the Commanders? What are the...
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah. Even sometimes asking what are the Dolphins is like, like you normally know what they are, but once in a while, like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyway, Panthers get a bye week, so they don't get to lose this week, but it somehow still feels like they'll lose to the bye.
They've already lost because they have a bye. Or I guess you could call that a win, but it'll still show up as a loss on their record.
All right. Anyway, I will let everybody out here. I hope you have a great week. If you see this and you haven't subscribed, please go ahead, like us, subscribe us. If you don't like us, don't bother liking us, but subscribe anyway. Fuck you.
Maybe, please.
Please. We are
still
not
hate you.
sponsored. We are not sponsored by anybody. We don't get paid for this at all. Do you want to bring that out too? So,
If this looks like a show that's gonna get sponsored or paid, you're out of your mind.
there's no way we're ever going to sponsored or paid.
This is the most unprofessional show on YouTube.
This is probably the most unprofessional thing that we could call a show on YouTube. However, we will say that we hope you all have a great week, and we'll see you all back here next week. Till then, have a great one.